Hi guys, it's Janae here. For some of you, you may know me through our regular classes. And being in Sydney right now, we are still stuck in a lockdown situation and probably will be for the next few weeks. So I've decided to release some of my previous online tutorials so we can all do some drawing at home and have something fun to do. And the drawing topic of today will be little baby penguins. Because it is winter at the moment in Sydney, we will be drawing a nice icy environment and we'll be designing a lot of different penguin characters and creating our own stories. Take your time with the drawing and remember your drawing does not need to be exactly the same as mine. Always put your own creative ideas in every artwork and let's get started. So to start off with today's drawing, I will be using these references to explain the shapes of our little baby penguins first, but otherwise I want to say we will be mainly using our color pencils today, and we'll be using a different technique to express our little creatures today because we want them to look nice and cute and fluffy, so very, very fluffy. So in this sense, when things are fluffy, just like the ones you see here, you may not see a very precise outline because the edges of their body are all very furry. We will be using the grey and the black pencil quite a bit today, so make sure you've got these two pencils ready and make sure they're nice and sharp. If you've got multiple greys, you can use multiple greys. We can have some in lighter grey, some in darker grey, but I've just got one grey here. And I'll have this reference here handy just to see. Now this is the photo of a baby penguin, okay? Now if we look at the shape of the body, it is very clearly quite an egg shape for the majority of it. So this image shows it more clearly and I've also marked it out. So almost like an egg shape, a little bit smaller at the top, larger in the middle around where the tummy is, and then smaller again at the bottom. From here, you can start anywhere along your page because we'll draw the environment around it a bit later, but we'll start with this egg shape. And I want to say we will be starting our shading in short strokes, and we're going to shade the width of the penguin first, so around this wide. Okay, the width first. If you've made it a little bit wider or a little bit thinner, doesn't really matter because we can have some a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller. And from here we're going to continue and we're going to overlap your shading. And this is a different technique. So instead of drawing the outline, we're doing up down shading to create the shape. And if any part is not perfect, we can just go over it and revise it like that. Now I'm going to start going towards the top in short stroke shading. Make sure your strokes are short so that the overall penguin looks really, really fluffy. And it's getting a little bit smaller as we go up. Like that. So generally a little bit smaller as we go on. If at this stage you feel like it's not fat enough, okay, the tummy is not round enough, then you can round it up, okay, like that. So nice and round, like an egg shape, and generally straight at the top. Now we'll try that again and I'll show you a few versions of mistakes and how to fix it. A lot of students may start off doing, very long strokes, okay? So remember, you want to be shading with very short strokes there and probably start shading from the width, okay? Because when we're using short strokes, it's much easier to control our shape. And you might shade it like this and think, hey, that doesn't look like an egg shape. It's not really even. It needs to be smoother on the outside. And then some students will start doing this. And then we're going to color in. Now, can you see that when we color in, okay, the areas which have been short stroke shaded compared to the colored areas won't look as fluffy. So you want to make sure you go over that in short stroke shading. And if your shape is not perfect, don't outline it. Use up down strokes. go over it like that. So take it nice and slow, and if any part of your shape is not perfect, remember that we can always add to it. Okay, we've got 2 there now. Now I'll take this away since we're done looking at this, and from here we can draw a few extras. Starting with short stroke shading around the edges, and you might go upwards first. And you might be a little bit messy, and then you go, oops, I think it's going to be too tall. Okay, if you've done this, ignore the top part. Set out, how tall it is going to be. So I'm going to actually use around this area. And then make sure your short stroke shading is overlapping as well. We'll shade down here and we'll just round it up. Okay, it's okay if it's a little bit fatter, but you don't want a really long shape because it won't look very cute like that. Okay, just like so. Now, I'm going to stop at these 3 because we can design some more later, but I want to show you how to draw the heads as well. And I'll just bring this example back. And we want to see, with the head, we've got 2 white semicircle around the eyes, and the beak is where the black fur is. So, to draw it very simply, we can draw 3 dashes first. Okay. Now your placement of the penguins does not need to be the same as mine, by the way. Okay. 3 dashes first, right on top of where you've got your grey with a black pencil, okay, because the head is a black colour. And from here, we're going to use short stroke shading. We're going to draw an oval shape for the head, okay, and we're going to join the middle, okay, just like that. Now, oval shape for the head, short stroke shading. Okay, remember to use short stroke shading so your penguins will look really cute and fluffy. And one like this, just like that. Now all of these 3 are facing forward at the moment. And if the penguin is facing forward, just like what you see here at the edge, okay, we've got your little flippers. And they come down quite long, just around the edge of the body. And at the bottom of the flippers, just for a bit of contrast, you can shade in a little bit of black, just so we can see where they are. Now the feet are very, very little. You can do very, very short up, down strokes to draw the feet, okay? And I'll make sure this one's facing forward as well. And it's got 1 flipper down, 1 to the side. And if it's to the side again, I'm going to shade it in like that, like it's pointing at something. Now, with the face of the penguin, we will need a pen again, just to draw in the details. And keep in mind here, the black section in the middle, if the penguin is facing forward, is where the beak is. So you can draw that with a black pen. The beak is essentially, if I were to draw it large in the corner, a diamond like that, with a dash through it. And if it's an open beak, okay, it can be like this. So that's the top, they got the little nostrils, that's the inside of the mouth, and that's the bottom. So they're quite little. This one's open. Now eyes, also up to you to pick. Okay, I'm going to draw squinty. Make sure to draw it in the white area. And this one I'm going to draw it smiling. Now, let us pause on this penguin, and you can see here, this part has been shaded in because it was a mistake earlier. Now we can definitely correct this mistake, because if you have a look at this shape, back at this penguin, if it's looking to the side, we only see one side of the white okay? And we only see one eye as well. So what we can do is cover this one up. And this essentially becomes a little sideways facing penguin. Okay, just like so. Now, if it is facing to the side, okay, more like these little babies, we're only going to see one flipper just in the middle of the body, okay? And we're going to shade that just like so. And we're also going to generally only see one foot because the other foot is overlapped. And that would be a little sideways penguin complete, okay? So if you would like this other flipper to be doing something where it's pointing to the back or pointing to the front, okay, you can draw it here. It's got its other hand outstretched, just like that. So here's our three different little penguins. And I want to say, you know, we can have some overlapping ones. We can have some a little bit smaller. Okay, and overlapping. And if they're overlapping, guys, you don't need to shade right into each other. You can leave a little white gap there. Okay, and it's going to be the same shape. I'm just going to draw a little bit shorter. Okay, same penguin here. Now start the face with 3 dashes. Up, down to make a semicircle, and round these to become semicircles too. And then we'll have your pen to draw the details, and don't forget the flippers. I'm going to draw this flipper going outwards. Okay. Squinting. This one's a bit high, maybe a bit too happy. Maybe it's up to something. And we've got the little feet at the bottom there. Okay, so here's a couple different penguins. For the rest, it's going to be up to you to pick. They can be sleepy babies, they can be very active babies. This one might be talking to another one. And we'll start off with the width of the body, and we'll keep overlapping. A lot of your shapes will not be so perfect at first, and they'll look something messy and a bit scruffy like this. So that's perfectly fine, because we can just go over the edge with up down strokes, and then we can add to it. Make sure you do not draw an outline for this one, because once you draw an outline, it won't be as fluffy. Okay, so we want to keep it really fluffy. Don't need to do an outline. And we're going to round off. Okay, little white eye patch. This one might be confused. Maybe it's about to fall off something. And make sure you do some short stroke shading in there. Okay, dark to light. With the black, this one's about to fall off, so I'm going to have one leg up, one leg over here, like it's about to lose balance. So remember to design your own stories as you go as well. Remember, we can have some conversing with each other. We can have some wearing accessories as well and doing different things. Now, you can position them anywhere along your page, because we will work over them a bit later. And some of you may have drawn your penguins a little bit small, just like this. Now if you've got a couple little small ones, that's okay, but remember, all of these are little babies, so they should be around the same size. And if you've got a lot of small ones, it also just means maybe you should try to draw a couple bigger. Okay, so keep in mind, and just have a look if your penguins are a bit smaller or they're a little bit bigger. And remember that we can have some variation as well. So we can have some larger ones, some little ones. If if you drew them all very little, there might be lots of empty space on our page, which we don't want. And now it's up to you to draw a couple extra penguins. Where should I draw them? I might draw one here. Maybe it's talking to another penguin. If it's talking, conversing, okay, or doing something, we can draw it just like so. You might be able to see 2 feet if they're not overlapped, but they will be quite close to each other and almost overlapping. I might leave my penguins like this first. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you have more, you're welcome to do more as well, and you can even draw some tilted and a bit wobbly. So I might draw a tilted one or a bit wobbly as well over here. I might draw over here, wobbly one. And I'm drawing the same shape, but it's just on its side a little bit. Now before we go on, we can decorate them a little bit. So if you want, some of them can be wearing Santa's hats. And with that, you're going to draw a little cloud on your head, okay, on the head of your penguin. You're going to have the hat going to the back or the front, and a very curved triangle. And I'm going to draw another one with Santa's hat here to the side, and a little cloud. If you want, you can draw a little crown. Maybe this is the princess penguin. Okay. If you want, you can give some of them some accessories like a little bow. Okay, a bow like it's wearing a suit. All kinds of different decorations you can be drawing. You can draw some with fish in its mouth, if it's got an open mouth. And I look forward to seeing your unique ideas as well, because I'm sure you guys would have plenty of ideas for this section. Now I'll quickly color in my decorations. And there we have our penguins. Now if you find that there's a lot of empty space at the end, you can add a bit more. And from here, I'm going to start the background, which is the ice and the ice that they're standing on. Now I recommend in general that you use a dark blue, whether it's this dark blue or another one, doesn't really matter, just so that we can see the outlines very clearly. And there's 2 methods of drawing that I'm going to show you. Now, for one, ice is not even. It's not like our pavement or your ground. It's very flat. So ice can be, jagged and a little bit uneven. And in that sense, we can connect where our little penguins are with the ice. And to start, I'm going to start from the side. Okay. And make sure you're drawing through the bottom of the penguin. You can draw through the feet, essentially. Make sure if you come across another one that you stop and do not draw over it, okay? And use straight lines, short straight lines. Okay. Generally, ice will not be curved and round unless we were to mold it. And this is our first kind because it's going to be kind of 2D, okay? And I want to show you a different one that's a little bit 3D, and I'll demonstrate with this one. And with the 3D ice, you're going to draw the penguins in the middle of the land, meaning you're going to draw from around the edges. You're going to involve them in the middle like that, and then you're going to draw downwards. Okay, so it's on a little ice block, just like that. So for these middle ones, it's up to you whether they're 2D or 3D. If you want to go for an easier alternative, maybe you can draw it 2D, but I would leave my one as 3D. And the other option is, do you want to draw your environment surrounded by water? Okay, because if you do, then around the bottom of your little ice block, okay, your little ice sheet, you can draw a lot of ripples. And also have a think, where does this ice cliff start? Maybe around here. So that's going to be the water for the ice cliff. Now draw plenty of water ripples to fill up, and make sure the water level on this side is the same as the water level at the back on this side. So slightly 3D ice sheets and ice blocks that we're drawing. Okay. If you find this a little bit tricky, more than welcome to draw 2D as well. And from here we can see the ice is looking a bit plain, isn't it? So very, very plain. And usually the edges of the ice will have lots of textures. Now the textures on the ice are always going to be also straight lines. Okay, there's cracks and crevices and uneven spots of the ice, not because the ice is breaking, but because ice, every year the ice will grow bigger at some areas, and then they will melt in the warmer months. So when they melt, bits from the edges will fall off like that. Okay, you can draw this all the way down to the bottom, or just from bottom up. Okay, up to you how we draw that. And just lots of lines. Now with your lines, refrain from drawing zigzags. So don't do this, okay, because it will look really like broken ice then. So generally in nature, they're a little bit straighter like that. Okay, your cracks and crevices. So not very, very abrupt zigzags. Okay, just like so. You can draw all the way down to the water if you want. Okay, and a little bit at the edge. And there we've got the back hill complete. They're standing at the edge of the hill. And for this little one over here, we can start off from any sharp corners or sharp edges. And we're just going to draw down up to where you've got your water. And here we've got our ice. Now, to further improve on the ice, I would recommend you pick one side, and this is the last step for the environment. Pick one side and then shade it in, because this will make the ice look slightly 3D, just like that. Okay, so you only need to pick one side and very, very lightly shade it in. Okay, from dark to light would be preferred, but even if you add a little messy block of shading, it will look better than just having line work. So that way your ice looks slightly 3D. Make sure you only shade one side of it, not both sides. So I've shaded the left side of all my lines, okay? I don't need to shade the right side as well, only the left side. Like that. Now I'll shade the front little ice block, ice sheet. And that will give it a nice 3D look. Now if you're finding that there's lots of empty space on here, you can add some decorations. For example, a pile of fish. Okay, Penguins love to eat fish. You can also draw fish in the water that's just about to jump out. So this one's just jumped out of the water. Or some looking up at, ooh, these penguins have caught so many of us and they're going to eat these guys. Other things you can draw include, I'll colour that fish in, presents. If you want to decorate with a couple presents in the background. Now, apart from this, I'm going to demonstrate one more thing, and that's an igloo. And I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit 3D as well. Now, penguins won't live in the igloos, okay? Usually humans are the ones building the igloos, but we can draw one for decoration, just to add to the environment. And with an igloo, we're going to start off with a semicircle, okay, on the ground. Now, I've got very little space here, so I'm going to overlap this igloo with my penguin, okay? And a part of it is hidden behind the penguin like that. And apart from this, we're going to draw a nice little doorway. We're going to make it double outlined. And for this doorway, we don't need to do anything else in it, apart from just shade it in a little bit from dark to light, okay? Because there's going to be a bit of shadow on the inside. From here, we're just going to use straight lines. We're going to divide up the igloo into different rows. And then here comes the tricky part. We're going to draw the bricks of the igloo. And because the igloo is round, okay, when we see it from straight on, the bricks will be straight, okay, and at the edges, they'll curve slightly. Now we find the middle point, okay, and draw down the next row. So the more closer it is to the edge, the more curved it will be. Just like that. And there is our igloo complete. Now, instead of leaving it like this, obviously you can leave it like this if you want, or you can decorate with some fairy lights, but just to finish this one, I'm going to shade every corner. Now, it doesn't matter if it's the bottom left corner or the bottom right corner, but you'll notice once I add this shading, it will look really 3D. Okay, nice and neatly, just a little corner. And you're shading this very, very lightly, not really dark at all. And there's our little igloo complete. If you want, you can add a little chimney to it. Not sure if igloos have chimneys, but it does look very cute like that. And from here, we've got the basic environment complete. Okay, you don't need to draw this. This was just a part of the demonstration. And then from here, we're just going to decorate the background. So do you want to do any writing? Is there going to be a flag saying Penguin Island? We can draw snowflakes with different colors, and with the snowflakes, they're just little asterisks. Okay, these are simplified snowflakes, and we may have the chance to visit more complex snowflakes as well later on, but we'll see. And don't forget, the snowflakes will fall on top of these areas as well. Okay, so you can draw snowflakes on any of the white areas just to fill up your blank spaces. Now, if you're feeling extra creative, you can use different colors in your snowflakes. So I've had students before adding all kinds of reds, orange, yellows, purples, pinks, okay, to their snowflakes. So that's up to you as well to design. If you want to do 2 igloos, if you have space, so perhaps I could have a space over here to do another igloo, or I could pile it up with more presents. Okay. I could draw more fish in the water. Lots of things we can be adding and designing. So a little asterisk. Think of it as a plus and then a times on top of it. Now make sure you fill up your background with plenty of these, okay? And this will kind of be a nice finish to your drawing. And by the way, if you felt like, you don't have enough penguins, after you added your eyes, you can add some more. Even at this stage, you can be adding some more. They can be peeping around behind the presents, for example. So there's no right or wrong or absolutes for when and where you're adding things, okay? As long as you can fit it, you can add it. And also the snowflakes can always be in front of the penguin as well, so they don't just need to be around it. There's that penguin over here. And it's a very happy one. Okay, like that. Maybe it's even got a red necklace around it as well. So all up to you guys to create. And the very last color I'm going to add would be the dark blue snowflake. Make sure you fill up any blank space with this one. And it's all going to be up to you to design your creative and very unique artwork. So good luck. Hopefully you guys had fun with the drawing and enjoyed drawing your little baby penguin characters. Now I'm curious to find out what was the easiest and what was the hardest part of the tutorial, and which section did you find the most enjoyable? What do you want to draw next? Let me know and comment in the section below, and until next time, bye.